Do you feel that feeling of despair that perhaps your dreams in crypto won't work out? Now, it's okay to feel that. That is the worry that perhaps you were wrong. Perhaps there won't be an altcoin run this cycle. The feeling that perhaps Bitcoin is topped and it is a free fall coming up. You know that feeling is normal. But what you do with that feeling is really what's going to make the difference. Now, you want to know for sure if this bull run is over. It isn't over. There is more to come, like you've probably never experienced in your life. Now, how do I know? Well, let me share with you a story. There was a college professor who had been banned from all the casinos for counting cards. Now, why would somebody get banned from counting cards? Isn't that just a strategy to flip the odds in your favor? Well, yeah. When you count cards, it gives you an idea of when the odds are stacked for you versus against, instead of being stacked for the casino. And so with counting cards, you have an idea when the odds are stacked in your favor. And basically, those people usually go big when the odds are stacked in their favor. Well, this guy was banned. So he took his advanced math kids and taught them to count cards, and also to work together in a way that it would make it more likely that the casinos wouldn't catch on. And they used counting cards to become rich over time. And this created such a scandal that a movie was made about it. Now, when you are in the investing world, there are no rules against counting cards. But in investing, counting cards isn't what you use to stack the odds in your favor. You use research, because if you've been around crypto for a while, you realize how volatile prices are. And sometimes you can have a really, really good project and you can have the price be really, really suppressed. Look at Matic's price or Polygon's price 5 years ago. Then look what followed when it went several hundred X up. Like, why did that happen? Why was it so underpriced for so long and then it went so massively up? And how would you know which ones might do that? So, in general, whether you know it or not, the odds are stacked massively in your favor if you have chips in play in solid crypto companies that their prices are severely price punished. Now, there are so many amazing deals out there. You could probably throw a dart at a dartboard to pick what to buy, and the odds are stacked for you that it will go well for you in the coming 6 months. Now, if you use research to identify solid companies where their tokens are very price punished, well, you'll probably do much, much, much better. What I'm saying is this is your chance to get massively rich. Now, I'll warn you, don't go into debt to buy crypto. Don't use money you can't afford to lose. That will wreck you. It almost always does. Just squeeze your spending so you have more liquid funds to buy each month, and buy as much as you can of the solid projects out there until their prices go crazy. And then it's harvest time. Now, you might be thinking, well, Rain, what project should I buy? I don't know what you should buy. I do often share on this channel what I like and what I like about it. On Wednesdays, we do a buy, wait, or sell. And I tell you, like specifically, go over different suggestions to look at. And I tell you what I think about it, and more importantly, why. There's other videos in the history telling you specifically which ones I like, but more importantly, why I like them, because I'm never going to tell you what to buy. I'm just sharing with you what I like and why I like it, because my goal with this channel is different from the channels out there. I don't have this channel so I make revenues from sponsors, from advertisers, from exchange links, where I'm pushing you to trade as much as possible. In fact, most of my audience doesn't trade very much at all. They accumulate during the bear market and then they sell in the bull market. So there's very little buying and selling going on, just strategic buys over time. And then later, when everything goes crazy, selling. Why do I embrace that way? Well, that's what I use to retire after one bear market going into the bull market. I was able to do well enough with just one cycle to never have to work again and to fire my boss and move to the city I wanted, even though that new city was much more expensive. Imagine what you can do if you've been using this bear market well. Now, you might be feeling that despair. Most people are. And that's what it feels like when it is blue skies ahead. And it is blue skies ahead. It may not feel like that. And that's why 95% of people do not make meaningful gains in crypto, is because they do what their feelings tell them. That pit in their stomach that has them so worried they'll never go up from here, well, they listen to that and they sell. Instead of listening to that, but then doing the opposite of loading up the boats like crazy. Now, I know not just myself, but several people have become multimillionaires through crypto investing during the bear market and then taking profits in the bull market. And we all did the same thing, which was buy low, sell high, and buy when it feels like this, and then sell when it feels like it'll never stop going up. And we have not hit that yet. That is coming. And I expect with what's going on with US's monetary policy, it's going to happen starting this month, a little bit of it, but the real big run going first and second quarter of next year. It's going to be a wild ride. Stale here, keeping it grounded. Finger red number one. Audi J. What Bitcoin price will you become bearish? I would get real worried at 60,000, but not necessarily bearish. I'd watch how it operates from there. If it bounces pretty quickly, great, but it's not going to get to 60,000. Realize that it feels like you'll get to 60,000, but every time I've seen lows, like people are like during the bear market a while back when Bitcoin went to 14,000, people were calling for a $6,000 Bitcoin. And that was during the bear market after the FTX scandal and crash, and Bitcoin went all the way to 14,000. And if you had bought at 14,000, you were told you were crazy because it was clearly going to go to 6,000, is what people said. And it didn't. That was the bottom. And then it went up from there and it came back down. And then it's climbed and climbed and climbed. Well, the bottom is in, but the top is not yet. And altcoins usually run later than Bitcoin. So Bitcoin has already had massive gains. It feels like, oh my gosh, it's pulled back a lot and it's trading around $86,000 right now. Yes, it's pulled back a lot. It's still way massively up and we are still massively in a bull trend. I know it doesn't feel like that, but remember, Paul, who joins us from Defending on Wednesday, says, Wall Street climbs a wall of worries. And so if you're not feeling a wall of worry, then you should be concerned because there will come a certain point where people are just sure the bull run is never going to end. And that's the point that you should really get worried. And we're not there yet. That will come. All right. This is just a short video reminding you what you're doing here. Look, crypto is the best place right now to have your money make money for you. Now, 25 years ago, real estate was the place to go. Like even 15 years ago, real estate was great because crypto wasn't out there. Maybe some tech stocks, but with tech stocks, you really couldn't even buy until the company IPO'd. So at the initial public offering, there were many early investors that were cashing out for 100x gains at the IPO price. You were never allowed to invest in the early stages of that. Well, crypto has leveled the playing field much more. So essentially, you're able to invest in the early stages of companies. Now, some people aren't prepared for that because they're not prepared for the volatility. They're not prepared, right, for some of them to go to zero, and they don't know how to balance things so they can hedge their risks so that even if they lose a few hands, they are not out of the game and they can end up way ahead of the game even if they lose some hands because they don't understand how to use diversification to give them a safety net. But that's what I share on this channel. Obviously, if you're here and will follow me for a while, you know that. If you're new to this, Look, you don't have to subscribe. This isn't for everyone. I'm not doing this to get revenues from ad sponsors. It's not deeply meaningful to me how many subscribers I have. I'm doing the research anyway. I've already made millions from crypto and investing, and I have redeployed all my capital during this bear market to do it again. Why not take this journey together? Because also I'm able to line up some interviews with some of the companies that are interesting. And through the channel, I get to ask them questions, but you also get to ask them questions. And one of the reasons for the channel was before I had a channel, I didn't have the opportunity to ask more meaningful questions to the executives in the projects I was interested in. So by creating the channel, I opened that gateway, not just for me, but for you too. All right. Dan says, let's see, you were the guy screaming. I'm sure I was screaming, and you're definitely not overstating there at all, Dan. ADA to $10 last run. We got crushed. Things like Drive, Shield Tops, said bull run would be early in 2024, then early 25, then mid 25, then late 25. Now, all caps, it is 2026. Dan, not learning your lessons very well, and that's okay. So here's the beauty of crypto investing. Buy low and sell high. Drive is probably out of the game and probably going to die. Maybe they survive. I will be shocked. I have a lot of Drive myself. Now, if you follow this channel for a while, you know that I've talked about diversification. Diversification in my first bear market into the bull market. If you follow this channel, you know that 2/3 of what I invested in failed. 2/3. 1/3 didn't and made amazing money. And Dan, hopefully you followed the early days of my channel when Cardano was 13 cents, and that's when you were buying. Now, had you known me prior to that, I was buying Cardano at 3 cents. I just didn't have a channel then. Went all the way to $3.30. And yes, there was a chance that it went to $10. There was a chance it could have gone to $26. How did it play out? Well, the top was at $3.30. So hopefully you were taking profits on the way up and not waiting for some moonshot. Hopefully you were not buying when it was $1.80, $2, $2.50. I was cautioning against that. So I don't know how you would have been wrecked by really listening to what I was saying. Now, what you are doing is you're blaming me for things that probably you did wrong. Cool. Did I make great money on that? I made amazing money from Cardano. Apparently, you don't seem like you did. Were you buying low and selling high, or were you buying high trying to hope it goes even higher? Because that's probably what you did. And unless you take ownership of that, great. Has Drive failed? Yes. Did I have probably $30,000 invested in Drive? Yeah. Are they going to make it? I don't know. At this point, I would give it like a 10% chance. So far, what I've covered since about 2022, I would say about 15% of those projects have failed at this point, and maybe another 10 or 15% will, which is much better than I did my first bear market into the bull market, where 2/3 of them failed, and yet my portfolio did 100x from the bottom or 20x from what I put in. Do you realize when you're playing cards, you're not going to win every hand? Even when you're counting cards, do you realize you're sometimes going to lose? Cool. So if you're out here saying that sometimes you lose, well, you're stating the obvious. Cool, Dan. I'm sharing with people how to use diversification. Great. I'm sharing with people how to take profits on the way up, and you're selectively listening to me. Cool. That's on you, though. Double Quill. Funny how people love to blame YouTubers for forcibly coercing them to invest in something that went down and never the other way around. It's true. It's true. Most of my friends, and I didn't know all that many people during the bear market because I was out, had a regular job like all of you do. And I found a few people locally and that were like buyers during the bear market and a few people online. And we were just accumulating. Cardano was one of my favorites during the last bear market. And it's one of the ones that went right. I had a bunch of them I invested in that totally died. Now, I did learn from even the mistakes that I don't think my failure rate will be anywhere near what it was, but realize even if your failure rate is 65%, if you're well diversified and you're in some solid projects, your gains will far exceed your losses if you're doing it right. So Dan, doesn't sound like it's gone all that well for you yet. Probably listen to my channel and lose the negativity because we ain't got any room for that. Doesn't mean you can't be frustrated, but why are you frustrated at me? Yeah. Okay. Cardano had a chance to go to 10 something, but if you were listening in the early days, we were covering at 13 cents. Why didn't you take a bunch of profit all the way up? I don't get where you went wrong, Dan, because I don't know that much about your history. And I don't know hardly anything about you because you're not in our private group. And I see almost no comments from you, except you kind of make it seem like it's my fault things went bad for you there. So Will says, I've definitely had some that I don't think will ever come back. Well, what's funny is I remember, so during bear market, like there was a YouTuber that I followed and he was called the Permabull. And people just said the same things about him that you're saying about me now. And that's Chris from Crypto. Now, he used to cover altcoins. He doesn't anymore because there is no money to be made from YouTube on covering risky altcoins when they're cheap. Like what? I get $3 or $4 per video. Amazing. Cool. And that's with 21,000 subscribers, an average view on my videos of 200 to 1,200. Cool. And I make $3. Do you realize I lose money making YouTube videos? Cool. That's amazing. Why do I do this? Well, because where I make money is better access to projects so I can interview them. If you've been following long enough, clearly you have, you know that I interviewed the CEO of Drive several times. Has that business probably failed? Yes. Early stage business investing, the failure rate generally when you're investing this early in businesses outside of crypto is a 70% failure rate and only 10% do pretty well. What I like about crypto is number one, the window of time that you have to wait is much shorter than normal because in regular early stage investing, you got to wait usually about 12 years. And that's for the ones that end up making it before you can successfully exit with your profits. 12 years. So in crypto, we normally have a 4-year cycle. But Dan, hopefully you've looked deeper onto why is this a 5-year cycle? You're right. There was a chance that it played out starting late 2020, early 2024. It even could have kicked off late 2023, and blockchain gaming did kick off in October 2023. Pulled back because the bull run was not ready yet. Now, why? Why was the bull run not ready yet? Well, Bitcoin had already had its halving. So Bitcoin was taking off, but there was a component we didn't realize, nobody really realized how important that component is. And that's the US monetary policy and interest rates coming down. Now, normally they come down the year of the election way more than they did. And that fuels tons of money, which really then goes towards hard assets or risk on assets. Well, that hasn't happened yet, but everything is set up with Jerome Powell being replaced. That's coming. So by all means, lose hope if you want to. I'm not here to tell you what to do. I'm telling you what I do. I'm telling you why I do it. Cool. That's why I'm excited for what's coming on. Fun under the sun. Thank you, brother. Love that picture too. And no way, screaming run soon isn't productive. Really? Number one, let me know when I'm screaming. I don't remember a single time that I've been screaming, so you might be a little bit more picky on the language that you choose because accuracy is more important than emotion, and your words are laced with emotion, which isn't what we use here. We take logical approaches to things. So you might try a little bit more of the logic and a lot less of the emotion. It goes better. Second thing is, you're right. You are acting like there's a magic crystal ball that somebody can look and tell you exactly when the timing is going to be. There isn't one. What is pretty clear is that there's a cycle in crypto with really big highs and really big lows. The bottom is in, but the really big highs aren't fully in yet, and that's because of US monetary policy. So by now, those who are tracking these things deeply know why it hasn't really run yet and see that the right policies are being set up. So it is going to run next year. Now, do you know how many people told me I was wrong in October 2020 that crypto was not going to run and that I was stupid and and I was a perma bull and I was wasting my time? So many people making the same arguments as you. So are you correct that it's taken longer than it looked like it was going to take? Yes. So what's your point? It's taking longer. Cool. So if you were borrowing money to buy, then you're screwed. Why? Because you've been paying interest on that and you created an artificial window for you to succeed in. And that is why you're failing. If you just been dollar cost averaging because things have been on sale for longer than it looked like they were going to be, this has been the most beautiful thing ever. And so you are so focused on all the wrong things. That's why it's not going well for you. And that's all right. We all have a learning curve. Realize you're not there yet. Justin says, I've never heard you scream. I've never heard myself screaming on a YouTube video before. My kids might say something different there. It's like blaming the teacher when you didn't study or had any attention in class. Yeah. There's a lot of that in the crypto space because everyone has a voice and some people haven't learned to take responsibility yet for their own decisions, and they get frustrated when things don't play out like they hoped it did. I never myself, there are lots of things that went bad for me during the bear market, 2019, 2020. Shoot, I didn't time the bottom very well. I bought Axie Infinity land when it launched in 2019. All it did for 2 years was go down more. Was that frustrating? Yes. I never got on anyone's YouTube videos and blamed them. Some of the projects that failed, like I said, 2/3 of them failed. I never got on anyone's YouTube videos and blamed them because I was committed to making this work for me. And when you spend time blaming someone else on why it's not going well for you, you're not taking ownership, which means you're not going to learn the lessons, which means it's not going to go well for you. So thank you for beautifully making the point on why you won't be rich in crypto. And I hope I'm wrong on that, because this is the most amazing opportunity that anyone's ever seen. And if you're thinking like you're thinking, not the rest of you, we only have one example to use that way. It is why you won't be rich in crypto. It won't because the opportunity isn't amazing. Isn't because you didn't have access to the right information to be able to gravitate and find it. It's because you focused on all the wrong things. And so you didn't learn the right lessons. And so you still didn't become good at this yet. Any chance on getting Manu back in? I did DM him a week ago and I haven't heard back from him yet. I would love to get Manu back on. I topped off another 100K Definity today, cutting down portfolio to higher confidence place. I like it, Big A. The channel is about engagement, keeping people focused on what's going on in the market. We're tracking a 4-year cycle. The cycle has changed. Many of the people in crypto take losses. It's part of it. Double Quill. Yeah, that's what I did. I cut some of my stuff to concentrate on conviction. Dollar cost average for this long is tough. And everyone is right. Like conventionally, the bull run has been somewhat predictable with a 4-year cycle. And this one being extended for 5 years, mostly because Fed monetary policy has been drastically different this time than before. And interest rates being so high for so long has really changed the money flow that usually piles in by now. And so it's washed out a few extra. They're like, okay, I'll do this for 4 years. But then that was their expectations. So at 4.5 years, they get blown out. They decide this isn't going to work for them and they sell, and they get frustrated and they start blaming other people, and then they sell. And it's like, well, shoot, we all, in some ways, yeah, it would have been nice. I'm living pretty modestly now, even though I don't have to. Why? Because I have high convictions in this. I've redeployed all my capital, except for the minimum, to have as much on the table as possible. Same boat that you guys are in. I'm probably living as frugally as you guys, even though I don't need to anymore, because I want this next bull run to enter that realm where it's just so crazy. Once you get above 40 million, especially 100 million plus, your life is changed for forever if you're just somewhat good with your money. And it does take 2 cycles really to get into that type of money, unless you just really, really get lucky. And we don't try to use luck here. We try to use research and hedging our bets to stack the odds massively in our favor without having to rely on luck. Justin says, Axes at $1. Crazy thoughts? Well, Axes continue to be made. So like, are Axes worth that much? Well, a few of them with rare trades. Like I have one that I crafted in the early days that was super rare trade. Like I get offers on it. Like the offers are stupid, like 0.25 ETH for it. It's going to be worth far more than that in the bull run. But like Axes realize is like the US dollar. Essentially, they continually get printed off. So I don't know what I think about buying Axes. I do think they have so much money, the game does, that if they deploy it well, then their MMO and some of the other things are going to come together well, and maybe Axie's price come back up, but it's not one of the ones I'm buying. See, Axie Infinity's made a lot of its gains already. I've been looking for ones 100 million and below, usually in the 10 million below market cap range, ones that I hope will go to $1 billion market cap or something else, ones that have 100x or more potential. So, and then diversifying across a bunch of those. I don't know which ones are ultimately going to survive. There's ones I think have higher potential than others, but still anything could happen and they could go out of business. Drive looked pretty promising 3 years ago, and yet today they're functionally like out of cash from what I can tell and struggling. And I hope they just kind of survive into the bull run, because in the bull run, even crap will fly, and maybe Drive be able to exit at a good profit there. But there are other ones like that too. Actually, some of them are completely dead. And that's just part of the investing world. What I like is the odds here are so much better than traditional early stage investing, where 70% fail. Only one does really, really well, and 2 usually do okay. And in a 10 to 12 year cycle with that, you're lucky if you 7x your money. So that's traditional venture capital. So if you're thinking about it right and you realize what we have our hands on here, okay, so maybe it takes 5 years instead of 4 years. Cool. Maybe it takes 5.5 years. Cool. What you're really saying is you're worried because it hasn't happened yet that it won't happen. Oh, it's going to. But because it is taking longer, it is going to wash out extra players. But realize that because it's also taking longer, prices have suppressed even farther, and the run is going to bounce even higher than it would have. Any thoughts on VV's development and delivering? Yes, VV is doing an amazing job. I just went to DesignerCon, their 5-year anniversary. The things that they're setting up are amazing. Like, Omi is one of my favorite plays. VV collectibles, depending on the collectible, I personally like the comics. I like the low mint comics that have either proved value because, historically they've done well, or it's a newer comic that a speculative value, but maybe there's only 1,000 mints. Those are some of my favorite investments on the VV app. They're risky because they're collectibles, and we don't know for sure what's going to do well. So most of the funds I put in Own Me rather than specific VV collectibles, but some of it, like I like collecting. So the inner nerd in me loves buying stuff on VV. Sure, I want some of it to go up in value, but some of it I'll just enjoy having and probably won't sell. VV, I love it. The founders of that, like everything is going really well that I can see with them. All right, guys, that's all for today. I was giving you a hard time, Dan. I do wish you the best. Look, is it frustrating being here? Yes. Take full ownership, though, of what's gone right and what's gone wrong. Don't blame me. It won't help you. It doesn't hurt my feelings. It just hurts your future. When you take full ownership is when you really learn the lessons. And so I just want you to have the best shot at really crushing this. This is the most amazing thing we've ever had in our lives. And the numbers are bad. Not only 95% of, only 5% of people make real gains in crypto, and 95% don't. And I'm trying to share with you how the 5% think about this, how they operate, how they play. It is a hard game. You literally are just using research to stack the odds in your favor, but don't think you're not going to have losses. You will. And if you think you're not going to have losses, your expectations are all off. And so you're going to find yourself very dissatisfied because only that your expectations were off. We'll see y'all soon. Enjoy this wrap. You know what this is about.
Came into the space chasing all of the gains, chasing the pumps and all of the hype trains. But like in life, shit right before you could. Was told to buy when it was pouring like a rainmaker should. I buy when it's down, don't chase the boats that I miss. Cause I always make the time in mind. I take the one out cause I'm patient like that, and I'll wait for the right time. I sell when it's high, I buy when it's low. They call me rich, they call me smart. I'm just a rainmaker running the show. Calculated investments, I don't leave with my heart. Principles are simple, they're leaving a mark. Buy when it's boring, just gotta be smart. I sell when it's hype, like all the channels they pump it. That's when I was selling, got parabolic and dump it. They call me rich, they call me smart. I'm a rainmaker, making my own start. I'm with the future, learning the past. Makes it time fly by, years going so fast. The game plan is mine, I'll own it now. When I reach the top, haters asking me how. Cause I'm a rainmaker, investments I love, and I follow what I learn, not relying on luck. Time is never better, but time like the present. This next 5 years is a gift and it's feeling like heaven. I'm committed to learn, studying to know that nothing comes easy, but with knowledge the game show. Sticking out this wrong cause soon will come a bear market. Learning and growing, and when it's slow will be the target. They say it's come out, Bitcoin is dead. The massive decreases can get to your head. Sticking around, the time is better. Strong like that, I'll let the others be fretters. 2 years time, the ball will bring back the gains. That makes it worth the effort cause here comes the rain. So let's go rainmakers, let's make it all happen. Let go of the hate, let the haters be crapping. I'm here for 5 years, let's do this together. The time is right, the time could be better. They call me rich, they call me smart. I'm a rainmaker, making my own start. I'm with the future, learning the past. Makes it time fly by, years going so fast. This game plan is mine, I'll own it now. When I reach the top, haters asking me how. Cause I'm a rainmaker, investments I love, and I follow what I learn, not relying on luck. Haters be hating, the time to slow down. Addressing what they say when I'm wearing my crown. They're chasing green candles like someone who was new. I got a vision that was bigger, helping me to push through. I'm still human and sometimes it is rough, and that's what makes me special, simply I stay tough. Cause I'm a rainmaker, investments I love, and I follow what I learn, not relying on luck.